mentioned, so I'm the Chief Product Officer at Aceable. I got to meet the founder of Aceable, Blake Garrett, back in 2014, and I had just moved on from Bazaar Voice, and as Michael mentioned, I've been passionate about education all my life. The other two things that I'm super passionate about are social justice and the environment. And so here I am, figuring out what I'm going to do next. I meet Blake, and he's telling me about how he's starting this amazing company. At the time, maybe 10 people that were all about delivering education on mobile devices. And so technology, check, education, check. And then, I'm not going to get into a very long discussion about this particular topic, but if you want to talk to me afterwards, I'll definitely get into that. Writ large, we live in a world where job displacement and disruption is going to be happening faster and faster and faster every year. And after I met Blake, I said, wow, imagine if we could have a platform that could deliver, on-demand education on people's mobile phones anywhere in the world, so that they could get the certification they need to get that next job and achieve their life objectives. Wouldn't that be amazing, right? So I met him, I saw that, I was like, I need to work at this company. So that was 4 years ago, and it's been an incredible ride since then. Let me see if this is working. And so what I wanted to talk about today is, how did we go from 12 people to now it's 250 full-time, around 400, including some people that are not full-time. But more than that, it's, I think more recently, what are we doing now in the face of the company growing really fast to try to figure out how to continue to make it grow? One of the things that happens magically, and you've probably heard about this, is that once you hit around 100, 150 people, everything breaks in the company. And everything that you thought used to work great, all of a sudden nothing works. Basic, water cooler conversation that might have been enough for you to align your teams to do what had to happen next doesn't work anymore. So you have to start getting really smart and intentional about how are we actually going to drive focus and alignment across the company to continue to sustain the growth. So that's what I'm going to talk about today. There's going to be a couple concepts that I'm going to discuss. First of all, I have to say that I didn't invent these concepts. My friend Kirk Dando, and then I've not met him yet, but I'm a fan, Jim Collins of Good to Great, came up with the second concept. We kind of put those concepts together, and that's what we've been using lately to try to figure out how do we continue to sustain the growth and have a scalable company. So, and I'll give references to some of the books in case you want to read them after this. If you haven't read Good to Great, you should read it. There's an addendum that he's recently released that I'll talk about in a minute too. So Aceable, so what's our vision? To empower tens of millions of people with a high-stakes education they need to accomplish their life goals. So we started off in driving. If you notice, none of this says anything about driving, although we're known for driving. So I'll talk about our first products. But at the end of the day is someone wants to get something accomplished. They need to take a particular piece of curriculum, get a certification. It's very high stakes because if you don't do it, you can't achieve what you're trying to do. That's what we're all about, is to see tens of millions of people be able to do that every year. And our mission is to basically build the courses and do that in a convenient way that allows folks to get the licensing and certification they need to actually go through that high stakes education and achieve those goals. So before I move to the next part and I start getting really into the nitty gritty, I just wanted to get a show of hands of like who here is not a product manager. So let's start maybe with that. All right, that's actually surprising. I did not realize, so maybe about half. And then who here is a product manager, and then I guess the remaining, but what brought, I just want to hear from someone, what brought you here if you're not a product manager? Any volunteers in asking that? I'm just curious. So I already heard from you, you want to?
I want to know more about how the products work, and coming from a finance background, so I'm from a finance background, so I want to enter into product management. I did internships in product management, so how to convert, my experiences to see the product parts in my experience and tailor them to product management to get that full time I'm expecting to get it. So that's what I want to learn, and how products work and how the vision of products, as you said, how the vision and how things grow from, from very startup point kind of environment to a for very big products.
Cool.
So I want to learn something like that.
Awesome. Thank you. So it's, that's not an uncommon story that I hear when I've come to events like this, and I talk to people that are kind of looking for a job transition or trying to become a product manager. So what I'm not going to do in this conversation is give you a tactical day-to-day of like, how do you build user stories and how do you like have best practices for like working with the development team. I am sure you can, there are probably even better people for me, than me to like describe all that or programs that you can go learn that. What I want to talk about here is really the role of product management writ large relative to the strategy of the company and how that's so intertwined. And sometimes because we're day-to-day battling the details, we sometimes forget about what's the real meta issue that we have to take care of because product is at the center of all these things. So awesome, thank you. So a little bit more about Aceable. So we are currently in 2 markets, so driving education and real estate education. The real estate education has been around maybe for about 1.5 years. The driving education is what we started off with. So driving education means if generally it's if you're a 16, 17-year-old and you want to get your driver's license, you basically download our app from the App Store, you sign up online, and you take all the course curriculum necessary to basically learn everything that you need to take the state official exam. In Texas, if you can actually even take the state official exam out in our app, and that was the innovation that really catapulted Aceable into the market. No one had an app, which was one of these things that no one could believe because of course there's an app for that. Well, there wasn't an app for that. And so the team here, and actually we got some of the original creators of that product are here today in the audience. I see you guys that invented it. And so that's, widely popular, with kids around the country. No kid wants to be in front of a computer, so they want to use their apps to do all this. To date, after a series of acquisitions we've done and so forth, we've taught around 16 million students how to drive. So it's been pretty amazing, and we're adding around 1.5 million students a year across the country. I think John had mentioned our star ratings. We're very proud of our star ratings. We got to do better because on the App Store we're 4.9. So whatever happened with you guys, we got to like figure out what's going on. But that's true of both of our apps, Aceable Driving as well as Aceable Agent. Aceable Agent is the name of our real estate product. One of the things that we really obsess around is like our NPS scores. Because we live in the world where word of mouth is so important for the next person to want to buy our product. It's something we obsess about. These are crazy NPS scores. We on average have above 70. A lot of that due to the fact that we have unbelievable content writers like Josh, who's here in the audience today, that wrote some of the first courses that really engage students and get them interested in the learning. One of our courses is rated as high as 84. So that's been pretty amazing. And that's really the success of the company has been ridden off of this, just love from the consumers. We also have the highest pass rate in Texas for the real estate license course. So if you want to become a real estate agent, come talk to Aceable because this is like where you're definitely going to pass the state exam. So that paints a little bit of the picture of what we do at the company. So now I want to talk about some other things. So our users, and I think I mentioned that. So Julius and Jordan, this is like a classic picture that we get from students at the end of every time they finish their driver's license. We get selfies taken at the DPS. We get real estate agents calling us literally to tell us, I just sold my first house. I love you guys. It's amazing. And the power of that transformative experience with the students is really something that drives all of us at the company because we get to hear these stories. So one of the things that I tell every new member of the company is you got to go sit and listen to the customer support calls because it's really, some of it is customer support, but some of it is literally people just calling to thank us for how amazing their experience was with the course. And it's an absolutely empowering experience. So any budding product managers, make sure you talk to your customers because that's where you're going to get really the juice to really do what you need to do. So I got a couple of videos just to showcase a little bit of the spirit of Aceable. And then as soon as I do that, and then I'm going to transition into this whole topic of how we do the scaling. So bear with me. I hope you like these. It'll be fun. So.
Driver's ed hasn't really changed since 1934. You're basically just trying to memorize a textbook.
We took a different approach. So, I mean, the memes, like it's funny.
But yet, we are being serious about the material. We care just as much about what you learn as how you learn it.
Aceable is completely approved by state governments. So more and more, drivers are never stepping foot in a classroom to get their certification. Hundreds of thousands to be exact. Here's how it works. Take the course anywhere you want, at any time you want. On your phone, computer, or tablet, it all syncs. So it's super convenient to complete driver's ed and not be bored out of your mind. Once you finish the course, we take a moment to rejoice with you. Then we'll make sure you have everything you need to take the next steps. Then you'll need some practice behind the wheel. Just know, we're always here to help. Aceable has its own in-house customer experience team who can walk you through just about anything. And then, finally, your moment of glory has arrived. You're officially a licensed driver. So download Aceable and experience the sweet euphoria of being able to drive wherever you want.
So I showed that just to kind of like, contrast the experience that most people probably think when they think drivers that, oh my gosh, I got to go get stuck in a classroom. This is the experience that we actually try to deliver to the students, and they love it. So that's primarily the reason why we get such high ratings, is because we really care about not only education, but we want them to have a good time taking it. And if they actually have a good time taking it, they actually learn more, which is, most people ask us, why do you have all these jokes and stuff in the course? It's because they actually keeps people's attention and makes them learn it better. So that's one. And then this next one is for our most recent product, which is our real estate product. So
making the switch to a career in real estate can be confusing, but you don't have to go it alone. What if you had a special support team to help you every step of the way? With Aceable Agent, you get a team that will help you pass your real estate exam with flying colors, jumpstart your new career by finding your perfect broker match, and teach you how to market yourself and generate leads. Don't just be a real estate agent, be an Aceable Agent. Get started today at aceableagent.com.
all right, thank you guys.